we have with us Kelvin Soon, who is General Manager of our Strides Transportation Department. And he will give you a bit of background on the problem statement on improving first and last mile connectivity.
Our problem statement is we are looking to improving the first and last mile connectivity. So as we know, SMRT we aims to provide a more inclusive, seamless and fast and cost-efficient travel experience. And to achieve this, we would like to improve we would like to explore and find areas that we can improve on our first and last mile connectivity. However, so we need some assistance, and I need some of the startup to share some of your ideas with us. So more importantly, to kickstart this entire research into the first and last mile connectivity, we would like to have we are looking to having deeper insights on our commuters' journey intent. So currently, in SMRT we run majority of the train lines. Some of the public buses as well as private buses, and including the taxis. And we have a private outfit called Strides as well, and that serves the first and last mile piece with our fleet of private cars and buses. However, we see the need to address transport issues in a more holistic manner. And we'd like to hear some of your ideas on how we can determine the transport needs from a local viewpoint so that we can harmonize both the public and private transport. For us to do this, I think we first need companies who believe they can identify underserved areas in our current public transport network. For example, business park, industrial parks, private housings, and as well as places of interest. More importantly, we like to explore how can we define a pattern in the intent of the daily commutes of the passengers. All right. So on this manner, we are pretty mode agnostic. That means we are not defining it to any of the current last mile or first mile transportation that's available in the market. We are also thinking of how could we further maximize and optimize the first and last mile assets that's available today. We like to also hear from the data analytics guys as well on what capabilities that we should adopt in order to have a better resolutions of the entire commuting needs that is in the local context. All right. Lastly, we believe that with the data that I mentioned earlier, we can truly understand how people commute, and from there, okay, as I said earlier, we need to find innovative way to increase the accessibility and awareness for the commuters to utilize both the public and the private transportations. More importantly, we are also trying to explore alternative transportation besides just purely public transportation. So, and for that, we need to take into account the travel cost, the travel duration, as well as an entire journey experience as well. So in a gist, this is what we are looking for too. Yeah, so that's my short presentation on this.
Okay, thank you, Kelvin. Let's remain on stage with Azure, and then we'll take a look at some of the Q&A questions. Question one, the first question is on Data Mall. I think it's a really we do use some of the Data Mall info in some of our SMRT apps as well. So if you use SMRT Connect, which is our company branded information app, you would see the timings of buses. All the timings of buses actually come from LTA Data Mall. Similarly, if you look into Zipster, which is a mobility as a service platform, the information about bus services does take information from LTA Data Mall. Kelvin, the other question is on autonomous vehicles.
Okay, so on the question of so on the question of AV, definitely we are exploring the option of AV. So if you have some ideas of what you can put on the table, I think do share with us. But more importantly is how do we stitch the AV to our entire public transport network as well. So that's something that we look forward to hear from you guys. Yeah. I think there's a question on, is the cost of transporting the vehicle covered? Axel, you understand the question?
Yeah.
So
that's a very good question.
demo.
That's
Okay.
from,
Yeah, that's for demo.
is it?
Okay, I think for
Yeah,
demo, we can discuss, but typically we don't cover the cost of the transporting the vehicle for now, but depend how our discussions pan out.
Yeah, so I guess just to wrap up on that one, it's really about the discussion in a commercial case. But it's not specifically provisioned as part of this incubation program to transport vehicles. So I think what we would love to hear from you is your proposal, definitely. And then we can actually work on this particular question, the aspects of what it takes to run an incubation or a trial, specifically with you on your proposal.
Right. So the second popular question is talking about, other than shuttle buses, can we explore limousine service? So currently we do have limousine service under strike. So we have about 130 of them available in the market. We are definitely expanding ourselves in this space, and just to share, we are using a limousine booking system to differentiate ourselves from the market as well. So I mean, welcome to new ideas as well. How can we really coexist the premium limousine market with the current public transportation? Actually, there's a question about the go-to-market beyond the accelerator.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a good question, and I can't answer you directly exactly as to what the go-to-market would be. But what I can do is share with you how we envision this to happen. So in the incubation process, the startup will work with our business units for about 2 to 3 months, right? And at the end of the day, you would either have a proposal or a prototype, something that's a little bit more close to a POC. And based on that, you will be judged on a demo day as to which solution would actually win the top prize and the prize money. And part of that prize money is this thing called the Startup SG Grant, which is administered by Enterprise Singapore. Now, the idea behind this whole competition is to help you to go to market and at the same time answer some of the challenge statements that we're facing. So that's why Enterprise Singapore is a key partner to this event. They will provide some development funding. You can even tap on their startup to grow the company and to fund some of the development costs of the product. That specifically to go to market, though, I think that's a business model question, and we do have mentors and advisors as part of this this mobility challenge to give you some advice and guidance on that. Yeah.
Okay, so the next question is: Are we considering new mobility solutions, or you want to leverage on the current public transport network? I think currently it's just to firstly see how to really enhance the first and last mile in based on the current infrastructure. But of course, we are open to new form or new mobility concept that you have. So feel free to share this with us as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe if I can just add to the point that Kelvin mentioned, the public transport serves sport needs. So it's very efficient when it brings people from point to point and where there are plenty of nodes, transport nodes. But what we see is that in the last mile, it's not so uniform in terms of needs, demand, cost and time factors. So definitely new solutions will be interesting. But sometimes the gaps in preventing people from fully realizing the value of public transport and the first and last mile is also solutions around how to utilize it better. So both form factors as well as solutions that help to leverage the public transport network are welcome.
So you take the question on the real-time data on buses and trains.
Yeah. Okay. So currently, bus journeys, all of this data is available on LTA Data Mall in real-time API as well as historical. And so that's accessible. On train journeys, it's currently not yet on a public platform like LTA Data Mall, but as an operator of our own trains, we definitely have the information on our train arrival times, and that's how you see the estimated arrival information at the train stations. So that's something that we have, and we can definitely explore with the startup how we can make those accessible to you as part of the incubation period. Next question is on charging and docking hubs, micro-mobility options. Definitely something that we're open to exploring. We have looked at a couple of this before, been involved in sending some of these proposals on behalf of startups to LTA. So we could still look into them, but I think just be aware of the regulations as of today. If your solution is around e-scooter sharing, then there is no framework for allowing operations of e-scooters at the moment. So operating e-scooters in public places as a sharing platform is not legal as of this point of time. But we're definitely open to hear what other charging or docking station proposals you have.
Okay, on the next question about how does SMRT integrate different transportation alternatives? I think on this, first and foremost, I think just to summarize, in today, transportation modes is truly just a comparison between cost and the journey duration as well as the comfort during the ride. So we are definitely looking forward to see how to integrate all the various transport options and providing clear and concise information to the commuters. And regarding involving agency like LTA, we definitely work with LTA to work through all the implementation process. Yeah. I think I said there's quite a few questions about PMD. You want to give an overarching answer to it? Yeah.
Yeah. So we're quite aware that globally, PMDs and micromobilities are quite popular in many countries, and it's quite a divided thing, right? There are some countries or even townships that have restrictions on it, whereas some of them are open to it. I think in Singapore, the latest news that has been announced is that the licensing framework for PMD sharing operators, they have called it off for the moment. And I think this is partly because of a lot of the safety issues that have popped up, and as well as safety either with regards to fire or with regards to shared pathways. And some of the messengers that have been put out, at least what I've read from the authorities and what I understand, is that they are trying to expand the cycling network as fast as they can. So while in the short term, my own personal view is we won't see a lot of activity in that PMD sharing space. We need to keep a close watch as to infrastructure, right, growing to meet that capacity. A lot of our sidewalks are still too narrow to share with fast-moving electric vehicles. So, the PMDs will only currently be legally allowed to operate on park connectors. So that's something you have to factor into your consideration when you want to propose something around electric mobility. Not that it's completely illegal, right? Personal owners of electric vehicles, electric scooters, can still drive them on park connectors. So take that into consideration when you make your proposal.
All right, I'd like to take the question on, are we looking at leveraging from smartphone to better understand passengers' flow and their mobility demand? I think this is a good idea. I think this is one good option to really understand everybody, but the challenge here is to really know how everybody commute and at the different time slot of the day. So yeah, this is something that we look forward to hear from you guys. Yeah. Axel, this question on funding and potential investment. Okay, so there's a question on will the first and last mile transport data and pricing be available for the challenge? I think we can. As I said, I think the data is currently available in the data mall, but we can see how to stitch that together. So yeah, so just explore that together. Okay, I'd like to take one question on what is SMRT vehicles, autonomous, but also current buses plan on taking into account safety of, it's all about safety aspect of pedestrian and cyclists. So for this, I think it's very much refers to the safety feature of the vehicles. If you're talking about that, I think though this is not what we are looking at as part of the challenge here, but you can share with us some of our proposition as well. We can take a look. Yeah, but be assured, safety is always in the first priority of SMRT focus. Yeah. Axel, you want to take on the question of the potential investment and funding opportunity?
Oh yes, sorry, dropped off for a bit, but the answer would be quite general. Definitely we're on the lookout for startups with good business models, good innovation ideas. And for SMRT Ventures, we typically look into investments in the Series A stage. So I think it's a relatively mature startup that is in a pre-growth or scaling stage. And we will be definitely open to hearing your investment proposal, probably subsequent to this challenge, because the way this challenge has been structured, I think most of the startups that we will see are somewhere in the pre-A, maybe more mature pre-A and A. But we'll be happy to look at your investment proposals. Let's take that up separately. If you have an investment pitch deck, you can send it to me. Okay, I think we can take one last question before we move on to the final challenge statement. Kelvin, did we cover the one on cargo movers?
No.
Okay, so...
oh, no, we didn't do that. Okay. So I think you mentioned about small cargo movers, cargo mobilities. I think Esther is referring to carrying the cargo across stations, right? So So this is something that we in SMRT we've been looking at as well. So feel free to share your ideas with us on this. I'd like to take one question on this one is very good. Is innovative marketing and payment modes a key consideration as part of the solution? Definitely. I think along the way of what we enhance the entire first and last mile connectivity, let's see how to really self-fund it if it's possible, as well to provide a seamless payment module for the passengers. All right.
So let's take a look at the rest of the questions. Okay, well, first and last mile transport data booking pricing API be available? That's a very, very good question, and also a very advanced question. I would say that we will definitely endeavor to provide you as much data and API as possible, but do bear with us if some of these are not available, right? We are also in our journey to move towards being a more digital company, right? So we understand why APIs are important, and so that's something that we're building. If you look at, I think earlier in the previous session, and even in some of the questions here, people are asking about Zipster, right? And just want to encourage participants to take a look at that and see if that platform is interesting to you. That is also one of the ways where we're trying to digitalize the different transport verticals within SMRT. And any feedback on that will definitely be helpful to us.
Okay, I'd like to take the question about, are we looking at alternative reward system to boost passengers using modes of transportations? And I think talk about rewarding of peak traveling as well. I think definitely it's interesting to hear about how we can do dynamic pricing based on the demand and different period of the day. So this is something that we definitely be looking forward to as well. Thank you.
Okay, there was a question about the email address, so I provided my email address in the chat for this room, and you can reach me there. And definitely we will give the contact details, right? I think first and foremost, use our website where we have a general email for all of the co-organizers to look at, and we can take the conversations from there. I think we answered most of the questions.
Yeah, there's one question about air autonomous vehicle. So
okay.
I think last year there was a guy that came to Singapore to present that. I think it's okay. I think feel free to share your ideas with us as well about air transportation.
Yeah, definitely open to looking at that. Just need to be aware that air is a bigger space. So there's a different regulatory authority that looks into that as well.
Thanks, Kelvin, for
Thank you.
sharing with us and answering the question, and same for EXO.